heart attack. Fast fatal heart impact. Past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions. Fact, don't ask. Grab reactions. Jacked attack with every word. Then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused. Call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose. Pick a new submerged juice. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now. Y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember you're discreet now. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before we do continue, let's give a brief little review. In the last part, quite a bit of things have happened. Deku, him and some people, they were going around to different settlements. Now, some of them were easy to find, and some weren't. They went around town and tried to ask people questions, and get them to join their side. They live in the city. The people controlling the water don't. And they scavenge for resources. These people, they blackmail them. Deku wants them to sabotage the resources they send to them. And a lot of people, some groups, they don't want to do that. They understand the risk involved. And some of them, well, they don't want to play ball, they're doing so begrudgingly. And then there are Deku's faction and a few others. Some of them, last month, refused to give extra resources that were, and I put this in heavy quotations, requested of them. Now, because they refused, Deku, yeah. He watched Jiro get shot, and later that day she died from her injuries. And there was actually a few other people from different factions. While they were begrudged, they did at least have some incidents happen at their camp, which made them get forced to play ball. Now, Deku and Kendo, they were talking about this, and so were even Toga and Kirishima. Now, everybody there are currently mourning their friend, and it is hard on a lot of people. And right now, we do currently pick up with Deku and Kendo. And about a few months later. Now, the supplies that were sent to that camp, they were sabotaged. And those people, they did start to notice that some of their people started to get sick. And sometimes the medicine, it would work and it wouldn't. And that was something that a lot of people at the dam, they started to realize. And there was even the people who came to Deku's settlement. The man who ate the meat and shot Jiro, sometime later, he started to at least pick up on something. He kept having a hankering for that meat. He wanted to eat the jerky he thought was an animal. However, it was human meat. And there was a fact that he did start to go a little bit cuckoo. Now, at first it wasn't really noticeable. A lapse in judgment here and there, and, you know, it's just an honest mistake. However, then there are those signs of aggression, the signs of anger. And a few people, they got a little too angry. Now, it was quite surprising. And whenever the winter did roll around, some of those people, they got stuck there. And there was also the fact that this faction, they did try to at least talk to other camps and find out what the hell was going on. Because they thought something strange was happening. Maybe the virus mutated and it's finally jumping back to humans again. It's going from the zombies to the humans and making them go crazy again. Maybe it's some sort of new strain or a new variant. And the people there, they tried to contact other camps. And the other camps, they did try to report that certain people were sick, and certain people weren't. Now, the camps were obviously lying, and there was about, let's just say, to round it out a bit, 5 months or so, where winter is over, and the people, they did start to somewhat recover. Some of the people who did get sick, they were either killed, infected, or they quite simply just, you know, recovered a bit more. They do still show signs that they are infected. However, they're in earlier stages of it. And that's something that a lot of people, they're somewhat worried about. The people at the dam, they are starting to understand that their resources, they're not exactly good. At some point, their stuff went bad. And they're starting to understand that the people in the city might be involved. And they're realizing this a little too late. Now, Deku and his people, they have obviously been scavenging in the winter. And since the fact is they're closer to the city, they actually have gone back to certain areas they have been to before and conducted more thorough searches. Now, things have been somewhat okay. They haven't run into a new variant in a minute. While there still are the dogs, the deceivers, and the mimics, things are alright. Those three seem to be the only ones that have popped up so far. And that's something that a lot of people, they are somewhat thankful for. The deceivers, as they know them as, they mimic young children. And they do even sometimes mimic civilian people or actual people. However, there are those traits that make them stand out, if you know what to look for. And that is something that is very dangerous. Now, with that being said, we do currently pick up with Deku and Kendo. Both of them have realized the water has gone out, as Deku is currently sitting at the edge of his bed and drying off his hair, as so is Kendo. Both of them at least having a conversation about how they finally might have realized something was wrong. And things do seem to be getting a lot more interesting. Now, there actually is a knock on Deku's door, and Deku he would go to walk over and answer it. As whenever he does so, somebody they do go to stare back at Deku before we go have a quick glance down and look back up, seeing that he's only wearing a towel on his waist. So, you already know, right? The water's off? Yeah. It looks to be pretty bad. But, did you guys follow the instructions? Yeah, we've been trying to stockpile as much water as we can. Containers, everything. I mean, we even refilled the swimming pool. Draining that thing was a bitch, but refilling it and using the water from that, it was strange, but we'll be okay. I mean, a lot of people have fears of it just sitting there and maybe going bad, but I mean, we can purify it, right? Boil it and everything. Yeah, that's one of the concerns I did have. However, we should be okay. Then again, that's a pretty big ass pool. Yeah, it is. Um, I'm gonna let you go and get dressed. So, later, man. The person gonna walk away. And Deku, he does go close the door. As we do have sometime later, where Deku and everybody, they do meet back up. And Deku is going over a few things with his people. As he's currently sitting down in a room, and a lot of people, they're staying around. And Deku is talking to a lot of other people on the radios. Radio chatter went crazy when the water turned off. And a lot of people, they were either not prepared for it, or they weren't ready for it. They knew it was going to happen, and they were stockpiling water. But there are times when they need to stop and get more things to use. Or they quite simply just need to go out and find something to use. But there are gaps. Now, some people, they're talking about exactly what has happened. And they're wondering if this means they need to go to war with those people. And we do actually have Deku who's going to cut in, expressing to many of them that for right now, they need to come to the Yayuzu Estate Mansion that is currently outside of town. Deku at least going to say the address out loud, as many people sitting around him, they do stare at Deku. Exactly why should we come there? Yeah, my people aren't exactly all that big in number, but even though we're still skeptical about your people. Our people in general, we are still worried. You seem to be the ones who control quite a bit of trade. I would have to agree with them. You don't live inside the city, but you do seem to go in here a lot. Yes, why should we allow somebody who has zero say in what happens inside the city say what happens here and now? Alright, everybody, I've heard your concerns, I've heard your words, and I do have to say something quite simple. A lot of us here, we went to school inside the city. I myself grew up in this city. And when the infection happened, me and a lot of people, we were at school when it happened. Now, how many of you can say that you are from the city you're living in? I'm sure it's quite a number of you. However, I know there might be some who aren't even from Japan. Now, a lot of you guys might be worried about exactly who I am, what I do, and my methods. However, right now, we need to work to turn the water back on. And maybe if we're even lucky, we can get to a point where we even turn the power back on. How would you guys feel about that? Because I know quite a lot of you guys may not have enough time to scavenge at night, or think it's safe enough. That is fair. We have a forward base inside the city as well, so there is also that to consider. We have a place inside the city, we have a place outside the city, and right now, we sell your group's ammo. Other than the dam, we are a vital resource. And I do have to say, if any of your groups might get through this, have a chance of it, we would all need to band together. Individually, we will fall, not only to zombies, but to these people. If we go crawling back to them, they're going to demand more. If we try to hold out, we're going to die. Right now, we need to make a plan. And that does mean that the lot of you, all of you, need to get here. Whenever your respective leaders are here, or at least people in their place, we can all talk. And I want you all to understand, this affects all of us, not just the individuals. Now, if we can make a plan, then things can be okay. So, I'll be waiting for all of you guys to arrive. At least see the vehicles you're in and don't shoot each other. Otherwise, that can become a very large conflict of interest. Now, Deku, he does gotta get off the radio. And quite a lot of people, they do go to disperse. Right now, they need to get a few things ready. And the fact is, they need to also make sure that they can at least sort out a way to water the crops. Because right now, the method they've been using was a sprinkler system. However, now that that's been turned off because of no water, they're going to have to find an alternative way. They could just probably dump a water bottle, but that might be too much water, maybe too little. They just need to find the sweet spots. Now, with that being said, we do at least have about a few hours later, where after some waiting around, some people do drive up to the gates. And when they do go to hold up the walkie-talkie and at least try to confirm with Deku that they're there, they are allowed in. Now, with that, we do currently have a few groups who are here. And many of them, they are going over quite a bit. And this is something that quite a bit of people, they're surprised to see. When they walked inside this place, it had tons of land. It had farms, it had people, it had animals. And that surprised them quite a bit. And then there was also the fact they had entire areas dedicated to even one thing or another. Along with that, they had a doctor. And surprisingly, they had a graveyard. Now, quite a bit of people here who showed up, they like this place. and they're at least somewhat either planning something out, or they're wanting to make an offer to join Deku's people. And that's something that quite a bit of people, they're either taking notice of, or they're realizing that they're picking sides now. And right now, we do have our Deku to sit down with quite a few people who are either representatives or actual leaders. And some do start the conversation. As they do want to know exactly when Deku and his people, they arrived here. And Deku would go on to explain. They arrived here shortly after the first month of the infection, somewhere around that time. When they got here, they had to do quite a bit of things to fortify the place. Granted, the walls were still intact. However, a lot still had to be done. And then there actually is the fact they had to gain information, and that allowed them to start up exactly what they do. And then there is their person who does do tech. That person right now, they are very vital. And they're actually the person who is working on something that they still need completed. Now, we do currently have where a few people they do start asking questions, Deku. And they want to know exactly what he plans to do once these people are done, or once they are destroyed. And Deku would start to explain. When that does happen, they need to at least start to make a bit of a plan together. They need to work together to make sure this world, it is one they can all share. Granted, civilization may be fucked, but they can at least still try to band together as people. Because of a few things. If the world completely falls apart, then it's going to be bad for everybody. Nobody will have homes, nobody will have food. Nobody will even have power. And the world will fall to the infected. And right now, that's not something that I'm sure a lot of people would want to do, want to have happen. So, if they listen to him and go along with him, they can actually make the entire city one that not only can they share, they can all actually make better. While things won't be the same, they can be somewhat closer to a normal life. Now, quite a few people, they want to hear Deku's proposal. And Deku is going to start. The people from the dam, so far right now, they may have realized something was wrong with the resources. And the fact is that they turned off the water as a precaution. He didn't think that they could actually do it though, so this is surprising to him. They've had that threat over their heads for so long, and now it actually has been proven to be done. So, they do know where these people are, and they know what these people can do. And right now, they need to do one simple thing. They need to let these people come to them, talk to them. And, well, it sounds a bit more fucked up to say, but they need to put bullets inside the messengers to send a better message. So, how many of them want to go through with that? Because right now, a war is about to break out. And if they don't get involved with the war, then they may not have say in what happens inside the city. They can still live there. They can still thrive there. However, they do still need to at least take part in clearing it out. And understand. What resources they find will be theirs. Hell, he doesn't care. He wants them all to understand. As long as they work together, rebuild the city, and they control the water, power, and hopefully one day, potentially the entire place, they can make this a sanctuary of the old world. Make it close to home. However, if the people here back out, and they don't want to try and take that place back, they do need to be aware. They've already gone far into poison resources. And right now, the people might be coming by to interrogate them, wanting to know why certain things have happened. The people right here, right now, are all involved, and he knows exactly where all of them are. They need to be aware. This is going to sound like a threat, but it is a statement. If any one of them turn each other in or turn on them, the other factions will destroy them. It doesn't matter. If he turns them all in as sabotagers, then they all would most likely destroy him before their factions are destroyed. So they have that mutual agreement. Right now, all of them are in this together. And if they do want to begrudgingly agree with him, then they need to know. This is all going to be a war. People might die. However, not as many as Winter. Winter was how their faction is inevitably going to fall. And he's fairly certain that that place, it is nothing but a ghost town. So they need to head there and find out what has happened. And hopefully turn the water back on. Now, a few people, they do agree with Deku. Some of them, they want to disagree. However, it does make sense. If they snitch on the other factions, then they're immediately going to be stomped into the ground and destroyed. And then there is the fact that all of them, they did already agree to poison resources. Right now, if you don't want to put it into a simple analogy, the biggest guy in the yard isn't looking so big now. A lot of people, they actually are rivaling that. And right now, this little gang they have going might be able to take that guy out. Now, this is something that is very, very interesting to a lot of people. And right now we do currently have Deku whenever the sun is going down. And, well, he is sitting down outside. Him thinking about quite a bit of things, as you do actually have Momo who does come to sit down next to him. And Deku is going to look towards her. Hey. Hi. How have you been? Pretty good. Some people are freaking out though. Some of the leaders are asking questions, proposing ideas, theories, and some of them are actually very interested. Some of them want to join us. I can't blame them. Look at this place. I mean, we turn our attention to the forest for a little bit of time and we just catch animal after animal. And we get enough meat to almost cook for a lot of people. Yeah. The animals have been running wild since the infection started. Well, I mean, it's been a while. Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to talk to you. Yeah, what is it, Momo? Um, well, what if this doesn't work? Hmm? What if this doesn't work? I mean, this, idea you have. These people will come here. Are we just gonna wait for them? Are we just gonna seriously wait for them to come here? Figure something out, or just what? Momo, I don't know, alright? Okay, calm down. No, Momo, listen to me. Right now, none of us know what's going on. None of us know why the water was turned off. No one's come here to tell us, no one's playing ball, nobody's come here demanding resources, and the people, they showed up last month, but you could tell from the way they were. They were not in good condition. I mean, the guy who shot Jiro wasn't even there. Don't bring her up. Why? Why shouldn't I bring her up? I mean, it's well warranted talking about, right? We bring up everyone else who died. Come on. Momo, listen. we can talk about her, you know? She might have been your best friend, but I still knew her. You can't act like her death didn't affect all of us. Now, Muda's going to bring up her hand. Her going to try and slap Deku. However, Deku is going to dodge out of the way, as Mauricio starts to bring up her left hand, Deku just bring up his right. Him going to actually catch it, as whenever Momo tries to bring her right hand down to attack Deku, Deku is going to bring up his metal arm. As Momo, she's going to directly strike down into the arm. And Deku, he is going to try and at least throw Momo's arm away, as he does go to at least hold on to Momo's other arm with his real hand. As whenever he does so, he does directly go to throw Momo backwards with the weight of her arm, as Momo does go off balance and goes somewhat back up. Momo, listen to me. And I mean really listen. You have been carrying this bullshit against us since it happened. Alright? Now, I don't expect you to forgive me, nor do I expect you to actually at least look at me the same way. But do understand, you helped me with this. You are just as guilty as I am. I don't understand. I'm still, I get it, Momo. You're hurt. You are in a lot of pain. And you haven't felt that pain since our friends died. Alright? I feel it too. How do you think it felt whenever I had to kill my best friend? The guy who treated me like such a piece of shit my whole life. Whenever he got a quirk and I didn't. How do you think I felt having to put him down? I know Jiro was hard to deal with. I know the way you were reacting in hell. I don't blame you. I almost lost my fucking mind. And right now, we need you to keep yours. That's all I'm asking you. Alright? Now, Momota's going to stare back at Deku. As she was tearing up. She's trying to hold it back, but right now, the floodgates, they release. And Momota's going to bring her hands up to her face. Her somewhat stumbling backwards onto the stairs and hitting against the wall. And slumping down onto the uneven staircase. As Deku is going to stare at her. He does think about moving in to try and help her. Try and talk to her. But she's been, well, you know, evasive. Not very open. She'll talk to you, but the moment you approach that subject, she'll either just shut down or ignore you on that. Try and change the topic all over again, or just yell at you. And right now, Deku, he just watches his Momo start to cry. And he doesn't know if he should comfort her. She'll either throw him away or just go back on one of the other stages. Yeah, Jiro died. They mourned her. However, right now, if they don't stop these people, more of the living will die. And he would rather the living stay alive. As Arita's going to leave, you do actually at least have somebody who does come by. As Toga, she actually would try to comfort Momo and talk to her. Well, her and Jiro, they were not really friends. They did know each other for a while. They talked and had the occasional conversation, and sometimes they did scavenge together. And Momo, yeah, she relied quite a bit on Jiro for a few things. And that wasn't easy for her to get over. Now, with that being said, Deku and his people, they are preparing. Right now, the water in the city has been turned off. And everybody, they are looking at each other very suspiciously. They are in an old-fashioned showdown. Either they turn the water back on, or they find out why it's been turned off. And if exactly the people at that station, they're still around. Because that was a very, very rough winter. Now, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed. Have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.